Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Ben Flynn from the Geelong Chamber of Commerce, and welcome to our 10th part of our webinar series. They've been tremendously well supported, and we thank you today for joining us. Today, we're discussing getting back to business, the right way to sell. And we've got some great guests with us today, and it's timely. We are getting back to business and things are starting to open up. And we thought we'd take a leadership role today and talk to some people about how to get back selling and the right way to do it. It's a really interesting topic, I think, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'd like, as always, to thank SC Technology, our platinum partner, for their support, and all our corporate partners who allow us to do great things like today and put these kind of things on. I've got some great guests. Rachel Patterson, Sales Manager of K-Rock. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Laura Sexton, Account Sales Manager at the Geelong Advertiser. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you.
Tony Spence, the owner of Prestige Jayco. Welcome, Tony.
You've pumped me up a bit there, Ben. I'm not actually the owner, I'm the general manager.
The general manager.
Yeah, but maybe not right. Not this week, anyway. Not this week.
Paul Cobb, the sales manager of Roderick Insurance. Welcome, Paul.
Thanks, Ben.
So I'd like to go around first of all and just see how your experiences have been. Rachel, I know we spoke in probably the second or third week of COVID, and that was when it was really kicking off. And I think your staff or your whole team at K-Rock had been sent home and we're working from home. Over the last few weeks, how has your experience changed?
Well, look, overall, it's been incredibly tough because, of course, we work with so many local businesses and we've seen so many really, really badly affected at this time. Obviously, some have kind of, come through it, fairly softly, but some have been really, really badly, affected. And so what we're finding now is that we're seeing a bit of momentum and things are starting to come back. And in fact, even if business is slow to kick or clients are not yet opening, they're starting to think about their communication strategy. And so we feel like we've got good momentum and every business is obviously different, but hopefully some better times to come.
Yeah. And Laura, how has your team been affected throughout the crisis at the Geelong Addy?
We really had to act quickly prior to the shutdown, obviously, and a lot of people who read the Addy would have noticed that we had to start completely producing the Addy and externally. So we had to change dramatically, but we went from long-term strategic partnerships to week by week, short-term, and day by day sort of marketing plans for clients. So it's been challenging, but we've had daily contact with everybody. We've all been, talking to all of our clients on our lists and just checking in and seeing how they're doing and if there's anything we can do to help.
Yeah. And Paul at Roderick Insurance, I suspect you guys are working from home, but how has the insurance industry been affected?
Yeah, look, it's been interesting. I think internally we've done pretty well. We had to get sort of 40 staff working from home in pretty quick time. So and being a sort of a face-to-face type business, that's been a bit difficult. But I think really the most difficult part for us has been sort of speaking to our longer-term clients who have really been impacted by the downturn. So there's a number of people who have built up really successful businesses and successful brands over a number of years, and they've just been decimated in some ways in a matter of weeks. So those sort of phone calls and so forth have been pretty challenging, pretty emotional as well at some stages. So that's been the sort of toughest part from an insurance industry point of view, just dealing with the fallout from some of these great business owners who, through no fault of their own, find themselves in a pretty tough way.
And I think that's a good topic to expand on as we move forward today, to hear how the extra roles you're taking on as salespeople when you're dealing with clients. I know all the accountants and lawyers have been putting a lot of effort into making people feel secure and supported, during this crisis. So Tony, I know your business shut down and has only been open again the last few weeks. How have you found the period?
Yeah, you're right, Ben. We did shut down in April for about 3 weeks, and it was fairly stressful as a company for us because we've got 55 employees and it's hit everybody pretty hard. But one thing, when we did go through that period, we do advertising on the radio and in Geelong Advertiser, and you're quite right, they've been great support to us. They were very flexible and understanding with our situation, and they're in it for the long haul with us, so they know that they'll help us through this tough time, and we'll go back to them when the time is right. We'll get back to them and things will start moving again. and we're heading in that right direction. It's we just don't know when, if it's a short-term burst at the moment, or if we have another outbreak, whether the times go back to tough times again. But so far, we've got a lot of confidence that we're heading in the right direction, and things are looking promising.
And are you feeling like over Christmas that more people are going to be spending time in Australia as opposed to travelling overseas?
Well, that's you're correct there, Ben. I mean, that's the talk. Everybody's saying that, and our sales team in the last 2 weeks have said more than ever having first-time buyers that have never caravan, and they're talking about that they can't go overseas, and it's real. That people are saying that we've never caravan before, but we want to get away. We want to get out of the house. We want to go see Australia, and this is the way they want to do it. So it's definitely going to bring a lot more people that haven't caravan before, and no, we're excited. Our sales team are really confident that they're going to be busy for a long time, and they're excited to talk to new customers because we love the caravan lifestyle and we think it's fantastic. And the more people that do it, the more we'll find out that actually you can have lots of fun. You can see parts of Australia that you didn't know were there, and you can enjoy yourself. And that's where that's our job. It's to sell a caravan, but it's actually to sell a lifestyle and sell the tourism of Victoria and Australia. People go and see it. So
just so I'm clear, Tony, you're suggesting the last 3 weeks since you've been open that the phones have been ringing and your sales staff have been pretty active in turning stock and chatting to people.
You're right, Ben. They have been, and I think people were cooped up for a number of weeks. Our message to start with was that look, it's safe to come and see us. We're open, and we've got precautions in place that you can come and be safe when you see us. So our salesmen don't get in the caravan with the customer. They'll stay outside the door and answer questions. All the hygiene, disinfectants and the wiping down surfaces. I mean, all we want to do is make sure our staff are safe, but we also want to make sure the customers can come and they know that they're in a safe environment. And I think we're happy. If people are looking to spend money, we're happy to help them do that. So retail therapy is you've been cooked up for a long time. Come and spend some money. So.
And just finally, Tony, I suppose the buying decision, the level of anxiety, the size of the purchase is different. So a lot of these people had probably thought about buying a caravan for 1, 2, 3 to 5 years, and this has been the catalyst now to spur them on.
You're spot on there, Ben. I know I talked to one of our salesmen this morning, and one of his customers today, the wife has always wanted to go on a caravan holiday, and the husband wasn't so keen. But now, the husband's pulled it. He said, "Oh, let's give it a go," and that's probably happening to a lot of couples where one's keen and one's not so keen. Well, they're actually, they're talking their partner into trying it out at least. But so that's real, and you're quite right. It's a big purchase too, and one of the things is that we need people to come into our yard to actually touch and feel the caravan to see what it is. And there's so many different types of sizes and models that it's hard. You can look on the internet and you can look on the website. But to actually touch and feel and to see what a caravan looks like and to see what features it has, you need to be in the yard to see that because you're spending a lot of money and you want to get the right one. And that's where our guys are. That's our salesman's job is to make sure you do get the right caravan. And that's what we're here for. So we want everybody to have a great holiday, and if you have the right caravan, it makes it so much better.
Fantastic. Now, Rachel, are you finding now that sales are starting to pick up in the advertising space, and if you found that some people have stuck with you throughout, and now some newer people are coming along to explore their options?
Yeah, it's really interesting actually. We've had, and obviously with the radio station, we work with a lot of events and we work with the travel businesses. So we've lost all of that revenue straight away, and obviously they're very, very slow to come back. But there have been quite a lot of businesses that have actually stayed on air with us throughout this time. And it's a tried and true methodology is that, through tough times, astute businesses, they retain their marketing spend, and they obviously need to look at cutting fat and to cut fat from a business, but not to cut off, I suppose, the vehicle that is the lifeblood to their financial, well-being. So we've had some clients that have stayed on air with us, even though they're not currently open. And it's been actually quite interesting to see those that have are coming back really strongly. And obviously every industry is so different. We do work with so many different types of clients, but some clients we're working with now are actually seeing almost a frenzy in sales, where the others were really kind of trying to look for what's the right communication strategy for them. But definitely momentum coming back. And, even though, some businesses might not be ready to open their doors, we're really now sort of starting to strategize, right? How do we connect with people? What do people need right now? And how do we communicate that?
Now, you manage a sales team. How's it been managing a sales team, and what kind of advice are you giving them on how to approach sales at the moment?
Well, look, we've never been a hard selling sales team, and so my team really, is very much sales calls, so calling clients, but really calling to dig deep and to listen and to understand their business and look for an opportunity and look for their pain points and look for some challenges that we can find that we can then help them with. We're really there to listen, not at all to sell, and I think that's really, really important, particularly at the moment. As my guys are sort of half counsellor, putting counsellor hats on and just being there, as clients need, because there's some people going through some absolutely incredibly tough times at the moment. But what we know is that when the time is right, we can help, and so in this period of deep uncertainty, it's just sort of talking to clients and then working out what's an opportunity to actually help them come back from this as fast as possible.
Yeah. Now, before I get to you, Laura, a quick message to all our participants. We do have the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen. I'd love you to pose some questions to our guest today. It's always really great to hear from you guys. So, Laura, Rachel touched on the delivering value, and I think that's a really important point. Over this period, I know you, for one, are all about integrating the advertising and looking at different options to tailor packages. Is that how you've approached, during the COVID crisis? Has that given you the opportunity to explore those packages and tailor them a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. Traditionally, we work through genuine solution selling for clients anyway. We always find, what their goals, gaps and needs are and try and make sure that we meet those. And if it's something that we, whether we can or we can't do for them, I'll suggest other options if that's what we need to do. But we've been really trying to create some features that help them through the situation. We're working on something at the moment which is looking to be really quite successful for Tuesday. We're doing a dining out or ordering in feature, and we've offered that for clients who are cafes and restaurants, so that they can let our 56,000 weekly readers, the weekday readers, know what's happening within their business. So are they going to be open for dining in, or are they going to stage as takeaway, so that it's and then there's the opportunity for them to tell their story a little bit in that as well. So just wherever we can, we're just trying to find the right sort of plan for them, really. Yeah.
And across digital and print, are you finding that your metrics are up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, our digital stats were at the height of the pandemic. They were around 300% increase. And newspaper sales and subscriptions all increased as well, because people just were desperate to keep up to date with all the content and the news. At the moment, we're finding people are bored of the COVID-19 stuff, and because of all of our insights, we're able to adjust our content of what people can consume. So we're making sure that what we're putting out there for all of our readers is relevant.
And have you found some of your clients have finally transitioned from, traditional paper into the digital space and made some of these changing decisions?
Yeah, absolutely. Those who know me know that I'm really quite passionate about all the digital stuff that we do. And people should definitely be considering it if they haven't already. What the products that we have for people with the digital is, it takes part the whole marketing funnel. So, whether it's consideration, whether it's whatever it is that they need to do with branding or whatever, we can utilize the digital marketing plans for that. So people have been home, they've been on their social media, they've been consuming all your subscription-based television and all those sorts of things. So digital is the only media platform that ticks all the boxes in that marketing funnel. So and we can help them, run through that process.
Now, Paul, sales is all about relationships. It's not about banging down doors. It's about delivering value and building those really trusting relationships. Are you finding that you're chatting to a lot of your clients and they're working through a really difficult time. And in many ways, like someone said, you're a bit of a support mechanism for them during this really challenging period.
Yeah, exactly, Ben. Look, we're in a fortunate position that, you know, we don't have to make any sort of cold calls. So most of the time we've got some sort of relationship, which really helps. But, you know, admittedly, our hearts are in our mouths when we, you know, call a client that's we know is in an industry that's been hard hit with the virus. So that can really impact, you know, the confidence of the guys. But yeah, it's just a case of similar to what Rachel said of listening really and being empathetic and we're not a big hard selling company either. We just believe in the personal advice, and if we do the right thing by the clients and so forth, the sales will probably take care of themselves. But it really is just simply about listening and seeing if you can offer any solutions, because, you know, this is really, the shutdowns really hit everyone differently. So it's just trying to work out how you can best tailor, you know, your product or your message to those particular clients.
And is there any particular solutions that you're seeing come onto the insurance market that are new in response to COVID?
Yeah, look, there's been a lot more emphasis now on sort of paying things monthly rather than your traditional big annual insurance bill. Insurance companies have seen the need that, you know, hopefully this isn't going to last forever, so let's offer some more flexibility in terms of how clients can pay, and if there's other products out there that typically haven't been taken up in great detail, like rent default, for instance. People have often declined taking out that because they've got great clients who pay their rent on time all the time. Obviously, there's been a lot of tenants who haven't been able to pay that in recent months, so that's been a big that's been a new emphasis on that. And also cyber insurance is a big one. You know, a lot of business owners have felt their internal systems are pretty robust at work and so forth, but now with they're pretty much all their workforce at home on their own PCs with varying degrees of cyber security and virus protection, you know, their operation is a lot more vulnerable, I guess, for hackers and social engineering scams and so forth. So things like cyber insurance has become a lot more popular.
Yeah. And are people actually looking to insure events and also loss of income moving forward due to subsequent pandemics?
Yeah, definitely. So I think business interruption has been a real big one. While, you know, the virus hasn't, you know, I don't think there's a single business in Australia that's been covered for the actual virus. I think counterintuitively, perhaps people have sort of realised that, geez, you know, I can't afford, you know, I can survive with a little bit of this downturn and a financial hit to my business, but I can't survive if I downgrade my insurance and I'm not covered for an insurable event like a fire or theft or a burst pipe or whatever the case may be. So I think there's been, people have used a bit of the downtime to, you know, review their insurance program and make sure they're covered, you know, appropriately, and given us a call. And if there's a way we can help them from a flexibility point of view, we do that as well.
Yeah. And from a practical perspective, are you meeting face-to-face with clients yet?
Not at the moment, but we're slowly getting people back into the office. So we anticipate maybe in a couple of weeks we'll be able to start visiting and more often and so forth. So that's been sort of one of the drawbacks, I guess, of that we've missed, is that customer interaction and going to the businesses themselves to look around and offer them some advice. So yeah, we're looking forward definitely to that face-to-face contact again. So we think it might be just a week or two away.
Yeah, okay. And how about you, Rachel? Are your sales team looking to get out face-to-face?
Look, we are already. We're finding that a lot of clients are wanting to see us. The really important thing for us, though, is that we make sure that we set those expectations before the meeting as to how we're going to, I suppose, act in the meeting. So it's obviously, you know, whereas we normally shake hands, we might say, hey, I look forward to giving you a virtual high five, you know, or something like that. So there's no that awkwardness when you do get to the business as to, you know, you might normally give them a hug, but it's obviously not appropriate at this time. And just making sure that my sales team as well, they've got hand sanitizer on them at all times. So if they have to touch a door handle, you know, or if something does happen, that they then can keep themselves safe before they end up touching their face.
Yeah, yeah. And Laura, are you finding that people are really responsive and receptive to you meeting them and you calling them at the moment? They're enjoying the connection?
Yeah, they really are. we launched GT Bride last week, and so I went out and delivered quite a few of the boxes to some of my key clients in GT Bride, and I think I missed the interaction just as much as they missed the interaction. While quite a lot of us are doing whether it be Zoom meetings or Google meetings with video conferencing. It's just not the same as that in-person interaction. So, yeah, look, and even during the pandemic, I had, during the lockdown, I did have a couple of clients who did request that I went out and saw them in person, just because that's obviously the way that they prefer to work. So we did that and maintained that I was, that I was safe during that meeting, and so was he. But yeah, we're all quite looking forward to getting back into the office. I know most of the staff are getting back into the office next week. I'm not back until the following week because I'm still homeschooling. Yep. Very looking forward to not homeschooling and working from home at the same time. But yeah, it's all about the relationships, and the best relationships you can have are those ones when you're in person.
Yep. And Tony, you've got a lot of people visiting your caravans, you mentioned. Is there any extra precautions you need to take from a safety perspective?
No, as Laura just said, the face-to-face is really important for us as well. No, we're finding customers are fairly confident of getting out and about these days. We've got hand sanitizers all over the business, and people are keeping their social distancing. We're the same. We try and create relationships with our customers, and I think everybody understands the way of the world these days. It's you're not trying to be rude by not shaking hands, but it's the way everybody's behaving these days. So no, it's we're trying to protect our staff as well. We don't know who's coming through the gate, so we've got to make sure our staff are protected. So our customers come from all over Victoria. So the thing is, we feel in Geelong, we've had a pretty good result from the COVID-19. There hasn't been you hear stories from over thousands of people dying, where I think it's 102 people in Australia, I think the current figure is. So people are feeling safe, but they're wary that they're safe, and just trying to keep each other safe and keep it that way, I suppose.
Fantastic. Now, Rachel, you and I have discussed the kind of approach to selling at the moment. We talked about selling with empathy, and I know you've actually diligently been doing some research on this, or getting an understanding of how people are selling across the world, given this is a global pandemic. What thoughts have you got on how to encourage people in the approach with selling these days?
Well, I've actually written a resource on it, so if you'd like it, I can send you a copy, because this is something that is really important for us, particularly in radio, when you are sort of communicating really emotionally one-on-one to people. And the key thing really is we've got an opportunity now to really use our messaging astutely, and to use, I suppose, this communication to really connect on a really deep and meaningful level. So we're really finding that we're moving away from that hard sales style ad, and really about how to connect with someone. We're finding the market's really attentive at the moment, so they really want to hear impactful messaging, and we can be a little bit more strategic than we can in a slightly sort of frenetic environment. So a couple of tips that we're really using and helping clients work through. One is making sure that we're talking to the pain points that our customers or that clients' customers are experiencing. So if we're solving their problems, we find that they will then in turn, come to see our client. Also really important to know that everyone's situation's different. So we're really avoiding, using blanket statements. Hey, clients want to use language like, hey, things are getting back to normal, or, now that we're, business is back, we're really trying to avoid that. And just, I suppose, be mindful that some people are still very deep in this, and, normal might never come back for some industries. Also looking at, are people shifting, I suppose, needs across this time and changing our communication accordingly? So for us, it's really important to have these really regular strategy sessions with our clients and go, right, what are we communicating now? What is important now? So for instance, safety precautions are currently really, really relevant. So it's making sure that in commercials, we're actually telling people that they can be sure that they're safe, when they go in. I've actually got a really interesting example if you're interested in hearing it, and that's a client that's on air at the moment, Mulet Car Care. So Mulet Car Care is actually one that stayed advertising throughout the pandemic. And their ad is quite an interesting one. There's talks about them reopened. They're offering no contact car pickup and they'll disinfect your car. But then they've got language around we're actually sharing the JobKeeper support by giving you 50% off labour service costs as well as free wheel alignment and so on. So there they've got a bit of a sales tactic, so it's a call to action, but it's also, I suppose, really keeping people safe, and it is sort of tapping into that empathy and sharing the love with JobKeeper. So they've actually said that their results have actually been better than this time last year. So it's just an interesting example.
It is an interesting example, and it comes down to trying to find the right messaging to get cut through in the right environment. Yeah, I can see how that would be really appealing to people. Laura, you know, looking beyond the Geelong Addy, we've got a lot of small business owners who are probably joining us today, and people that are selling across a range of products. Should they have the confidence to get out there and to start engaging with current and new clients now?
Yeah, absolutely. Now it's probably more important than ever. Most businesses will find that the marketing channels have moved right back to the top of the marketing funnel. So, you know, they need to capture all the people, you know, back to prospecting and that sort of thing. So, you know, probably the first things they need to do, they need to go and check their digital footprint. And if they haven't already, they need to start looking into that sort of stuff. And I mean, I'm here to help if anybody needs help with any of that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But there's some really simple things they can do. They can go and, you know, Google their products and services, see where they rank, see who their competitors are and who's sitting above them. Check up on their own Facebook pages. If you don't have a Facebook page, you need your own Facebook page. Check your competitors and see what they're doing with their Facebook advertising. And, you know, I can show people how they can check on those sorts of things as well, and what, you know, what ads that their competitors are running. Updating content both on their website, and if they don't have a website, you know, we can help with that sort of stuff too. They just really need to make sure that they're online, so that when people are searching for their products, people can find them when they need them.
Yep, fantastic. Now, Paul, do you have any advice for small businesses on how they should go about getting back to business and engaging with their client bases?
Yeah, look, making sales calls is always difficult, but I guess there's no alternative other than really rolling up the sleeves, picking up the phone, and giving it your best shot. So, look, I think it's important maybe to make some of the tougher phone calls in the morning when you're most alert, and then particularly, you know, when you can resolve issues hopefully later that day, rather than having it hanging over your head at night. And look, the other thing, and this may sound a bit odd, but if you can, you know, it's often good to make your toughest or most challenging phone calls on a Friday. Every industry and brand I've been involved in, the sales volumes, the conversion rates, and so forth, you know, often double that on Friday than they are on a Monday. And similarly, complaint calls at major companies are often half that on a Friday than they are on a Monday. Now, no one can really definitively say why, but you know, it's believed that, you know, if your clients typically have a more relaxed or happier sort of mindset on a Friday compared to, say, the Monday morning grind, and or they want to wrap things up on before the weekend. So now, whether that applies during a lockdown when all the days seem to roll into one, I'm not sure. But you know, it's worth giving it a try and seeing if you can measure it and seeing if it applies to, you know, to your business.
Fantastic. And Tony, have your sales team dusted off the prospect list and jumped on the phones recently?
Oh, definitely, Ben. Our database is very important to us, and you know, people with caravans, it's similar to a car. They do turn it over every couple of years. So yeah, we do use our database. But we're also fortunate we're involved with the Jayco network, and during the month of May, Jayco did a national marketing campaign which we piggybacked on, and they've got another campaign coming in June. So we get a bit of external help from from Jayco in that way, and also the caravan industry. They do a lot of marketing in the caravan industry. The CIAV do a lot of marketing, and we're able to be part of that as well. So yeah, there's a couple of different ways we can try and get in touch with our database, I suppose, and our customers or new customers.
Mm-hmm. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our 30 minutes up today. It always flies, and it's always really sad to say goodbye, actually, because I always really enjoy these webinars and having great guests like the people we've got with us today. I think the number one message coming out of today is that people are up and about. It's okay to get out there, but to do it in an empathetic manner and understand that your clients are all in varying situations. And But at the same time, it is an opportunity to discuss new products and how they can innovate and you can innovate in terms of getting out there. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yep.
This person thinks so. So I'd like to thank Rachel Patterson, Sales Manager of K-Rock, for joining us today. Thank you, Rachel.
Absolute pleasure. I just wanted to say as well that we're doing some really awesome stuff at the moment for local businesses. So we've got a really great relationship with the Chamber, and we've got some mates rates opportunities coming up. So if anyone is interested in actually looking at how you're going to communicate strategically and what to do, then you can get in touch, and we'll certainly look after you.
And I think that's what we're popping in next week's newsletter for our members, is it? Terrific. Laura Sexton, Account Sales Manager at Geelong Addy. Thank you, Laura.
Thanks for having me.
Paul Codd, our Sales Manager from Roderick Insurance. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Ben. It's been great to be involved.
And Tony Spence, General Manager of Prestige Jayco. Thank you, Tony, for joining us today.
I appreciate the opportunity, and I hope Mum and Dad weren't listening at the start when I was called the owner. So.
Good. Thank you, everyone. Good luck.
Thanks, Ben.
Cheers, Ben. See you later.